All right, Knights of Apollo, welcome back to another glorious Rome 2 siege battle. Now, today it's a little different. We've got a 3v3 tournament battle, and there is a twist. The defenders have decided to select weak factions, at least weak relative to a siege battle, and completely sally out of their settlement. About 95% of their army sallies out, and they take on the attackers outside in the open field. Now, of course, this is no easy task because the defenders get less money than the attackers, so meeting them in the open, even ground definitely puts you at a disadvantage. But if you select the right units and you get creative with your strategy, you can definitely overcome anything. So I have a message from Toxic Rex. He's the player that submitted this replay, and this is what he said. This battle has to be in my top 3 best Rome 2 battles ever played. It was in the Chosen League tournament. It was a full 3-army sally out where the defender takes a huge risk and takes really bad factions to do a full sally and make a siege into a land battle. So I am really stoked to see how this one's going to play out. It's going to be intense. There's going to be a lot of micro. And this, of course, is part of a tournament called the Chosen League Tournament. I believe it's hosted on the War Table Discord. So this is a special Discord for Rome 2. If you guys are looking for competitive play, check out the Discord. It's linked down in the video description. They're also using a mod called the War Table mod, which fixes and tweaks some things in Rome 2 settlements that make them a little bit more fair and a little less glitchy. They fixed some bridges. They've moved some victory points. It just makes it more fair and a little more balanced for a tournament environment. So guys, let's go ahead and check out the players and the armies that they're bringing to the field. Starting with the defenders, we have the Adrician Kingdom led by Toxic Rex. Next, we have Draco leading the Les Senons. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this in English. I know it in French. It's like a French Gallic tribe. They're famous for, of course, sacking Rome in, was it 390 BC? So very cool faction. And then for the final faction, and again, please forgive my pronunciation. I tried to look it up. I don't see this faction a lot, but it's the Massagetai. I've heard it pronounced many different ways. That's what I stick with in the video. If I'm mispronouncing it, please correct me in the comments below. But they are a powerful step faction, and it is led by Crazy Carl. And now let's go ahead and look at the attackers. Now the attackers having more traditional armies or factions that relate to a siege. We have Nabatea, led by Emperor Rizman. Next, we have the Republican Rome, led by KEVFZ. And just a little side note, they are using DLC here, so they're not from the Grand Campaign. I think it's the Rise of the Republic or something like that. One of the DLCs. Apparently, this DLC is most evenly matched in terms of faction strength compared to the Grand Campaign factions. And then finally, we've got good old Epirus, led by Mr. Prince. All right, guys, you know what to do. Get your snacks and drinks, sit somewhere comfortable, because today we are about to witness a massive sally out. And so the gates have opened. And of course, the Cav is leading the charge in this crazy sally out. We have Massagetai leading, and then following them is the Senon, or the Senons. So they're moving out. They're going to work together. It looks like over here on this side of the settlement, the Adrician Kingdom is going to kind of fight alone. He does have some cav support from the steppe horses, so he's going to be able to utilize some of that, because I don't think the Adrician Kingdom is bringing any cav. So that's actually going to put a lot of pressure on the Massagetai player, because he's not only going to manage all this cav over here, but he's also got cav on this side. We'll see what he does here. But yeah, you know, they're completely giving up the fortress, which is crazy, because you get so many advantages with it. And naturally, the attackers are doing the right thing here. They're completely dropping all the siege equipment. They don't need it. This is turned into a massive open field battle. And what they hope to do, and one thing to consider, guys, is that the attackers get more money. They get more money building their armies because they're on attack. And that is why sallying out with all of your troops is very risky, because you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage. Now, if we look at the attacking armies, so we got the Odrysian Kingdom, honestly, one of the worst siege factions that you can bring, but they're not that bad in an open field battle. They're not as bad because they have the Thracian warriors, which are a high damage, high charge. Like, they do a lot of damage in their charging. So if they can actually pull off some good charges here with those Thracian warriors and even get some good kills with their skirmishers, the slingers, they have a good chance of winning. It's just a matter of how they play this. This is definitely going to be an uphill battle. And let's not forget, though, that they haven't completely abandoned the city. We do have some skirmishers. It looks like these are tribeless slingers. Tribeless slingers. I don't know. That's kind of a cool name. But they've got the walls here, which are currently being attacked. But they have the walls where they can set up archers on the walls and support the infantry. So it's a matter of, do they commit and charge the attackers, or do they kind of bait them and get them to kind of pursue? So they could also use these arrow towers as well to support them. Over on this side, same thing, guys. Smart play by the attackers. They're kind of turtling up. They say, hey, you know, you want to fight in the open field? Come to us. That sounds good. We have the advantage in gold. But do they have the correct units to deal with such a force, with such a heavy cav force, heavy shock cav? I mean, these step armored lancers, I mean, they're nasty. They are scary on horseback. So we'll see how he approaches this. You're going to need a lot of skirmishers, a lot of javies to quickly, quickly deal with the cav. We'll see what he does, though, with this cav. It is currently, I think they're using the artillery a little bit to harass the cav. You can see he's lost 5 men already to the artillery shots. We got some swordsmen over here watching the gate, it looks like. Do the attackers have any cav? They do. They got some Nabatean noble cav, which is pretty good, but that pales in comparison to all the cav power that the defenders have. But really, all these factions excel so much better in the open field. You have to imagine that the attackers here, they should have known that this was going to happen. Maybe they did, but I just feel like they didn't necessarily build the right armies for such an occasion like this. I think I would have brought more cav, maybe even more skirmish cav. We'll see. Maybe they were expecting this. You know, I'm not too familiar with the Republic DLC. Like, we got some auxiliary Cretan archers, which is pretty cool for Rome. I really like that. But we'll see them in action. But now the Romans are moving up with Principes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of Principes. And I kind of like how they're using the towers here to kind of protect their flank. But they do have a unit of heavy melee kind of watching it and making sure, you know, just because you can slip through the cracks and get behind. And now they're moving up archers, and this is where things are starting to pop off. I like that, getting aggressive, bringing the fight to him. Epirus is in a pickle. He's in a situation where he could either go and support his allies in their fights, or he could cut the middle. He could just charge forward. Now, he would absolutely need to wait until most of these armies are engaged in major fighting, because if he cuts now, the Odrysian Kingdom's going to counterflank. The Sonons are going to be able to counterflank. So we got to wait. We'll see what he does here, but Epirus is definitely in a tricky situation. If I was Epirus, I think I would take this slow. I think I would shift over a lot of my skirmishers over to Nabatea, maybe a couple over to Rome, and kind of help them out. I don't think I would get too aggressive with attacking the center, because don't get me wrong, they could attack the settlement and then take a victory point and win. So, you know, that's why there's still some infantry over here. We got Thracian nobles. Over here, we've got some mercenary folksmen. They're folky. We got some spears as well. So they got infantry ready to protect this breach. But we'll see what happens. Still, nothing has unraveled yet. I think both sides are really just trying to see how they can break this defense. And it's really turned. That's the thing. The defenders have now become the aggressors. The attackers now become the defenders as they try to figure out how to deal with this approach. And we got step lances just kind of like vultures flying around. Nice! There we go. That's a good early bombardment there. A volley from the Cav. This unit's now down to 64 men. I think that's smart. And you kind of have to move. That's what I think they need to do. They need to move the infantry as almost like a wall and get the archers close enough to start bombarding the Cav. If you can kill this Cav, I think they can win the battle. I think it all comes down to the Cav. Now, of course, the infantry is a threat. You got all these naked warriors, the tribeless warriors from the Sinon. So we'll see what happens with them. But yeah, naked warriors. Look at these guys. These are the men that sacked Rome. Very cool. Very, very cool. I love that voice crack, too. So, yeah, here comes the tribeless warriors marching forward. The only thing I can think that... Oh, yep. Don't do it, Rome. You're wasting ammo. I was just going to say, I think he's charging up these tribeless warriors to absorb the ammo. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Okay. How did they not see that coming? Maybe they did. Maybe they just forgot to turn off fire at will, but that is tragic right there. These tribeless warriors are soaking up so much ammo. And look at this. Now they're wasting ammo because they're just throwing it. Oh, the siege towers turn against them. They do have a little crack there, but again, they're wasting ammo on a very cheap unit. So that is just, I mean, if I'm one of the defenders here, my spirits are lifted. Because I just noticed that they wasted like half of their ammo almost. Okay, maybe not half, but a good chunk of their ammo on crap units. And now Epirus is getting aggressive. Look at this. Epirus is marching forward. We got some Thracian warriors ready to halt them. Now oh yeah, the Cav's he's sniffing weakness. He's sniffing weakness. Oh, not a great charge though. They are getting pelted like hell over here by the Javies of the Epirus infantry. And same thing over here. These Thracians, ooh, they're getting some kills, but we'll see what happens out of that. And now the infantry has decided to charge up the breach. The breach has been opened twice, so this is 2 sections of wall that have been destroyed. And now we have the Odrysian kingdom sending in the spears to counter this charge from Epirus as they try to breach the settlement and ignore all the infantry that have sallied out of the settlement. Now we've got, uh-oh. What are you doing? Oh, no, naked warriors. Put some clothes on. No, they're flanking around. They're going to kill these Thurios spears so quickly. I hope these spears ran out of ammo, too. To send in Thurios spears and still have ammo, that would be tragic. All right, let's zoom out here. And oh, slow down. Let's slow this down. Look at this, the massive. I love this matchup too. Quite the rivalry. Principes taking on naked warriors. Rome versus a Gallic tribe. So cool. But they're fighting this massive battle line right now. And I would feel like this is in favor of Rome. But it says they're currently losing combat. They're sending in some Hastati reinforcements. Try to bolster up the ranks over here because they certainly need it. They are losing to these naked warriors, and I wonder if it's because of that Javi throw. They wasted their Javi throw. So I was going to use a word that is correctly I was going to use a word there to describe their use of the Javi and how they prematurely threw it, but it's technically correct. But in today's modern times, you don't want to use that word. Anyways, nice little Cav charge, getting in the back lines of the Romans. You guys are probably thinking, what the heck is he even talking? I'm not even going to mention it. Maybe someone in the comments can figure it out. But yeah, they got a nice little charge here on these archers. This is a disaster. You got to protect. And now the general's under threat. Send this reserve infantry over there. Get these archers to fire at the Cav. They are going to crush his archers. Back over this way, Epirus is looking like a mess. His front line is crumbling. Now we have tribeless warriors charging in and getting these archers by surprise. But I don't think they're going to be able to kill them as effectively as Cav, of course. There's also some infantry mixed in here. The Samnite warriors should handle these tribeless warriors, no problem. Back over this way, it's much slower. Both sides kind of using their skirmishers here, trying to absorb some ammo. And I'm sure Nabatea is just looking over to his allies and he's thinking, oh boy, I really hope they win, because if they're starting to lose, he's going to have to charge in against the Adressian Kingdom and hope that he can easily beat them so he can take his victorious troops and defeat what's left of the forces over here. But, oh, the Steppe Cav. Sajatai is moving in. And they're going to use their brute force to break through the lines. So you got to have thick lines. You gotta have thick lines, because if your troops are too thin like this, they're just gonna knock them down, run through them, and crush the archers. So the Roman flank is completely compromised. You gotta peel. I don't know. He just doesn't have any reserves. The infantry is grinding. The Gallic barbarians are just grinding the Romes into dust. Pretty soon they're gonna break through this line. And it's going to be over. It's going to be over. This is such a cool fight right here. And look at these naked warriors going in with their swords up. I love that. Just how kooky and crazy they are. And more Steppe Lancers, again, like sharks smelling blood, looking for an opportunity to crack through the lines. But Rome's holding strong here. That's where they had the Hastati reinforcements come in. But, oh man, these slingers too. 42 kills over here. They're definitely cracking some kills. The general is going toe-to-toe with elite Steppe Cav. This could be disaster, but it does look like they are cleaning them up a little bit. We'll see. It's 22 against... Oh, no. Oh, it doesn't matter. Here comes reinforcements, and the Roman general's like, flee! Flee! Our flank has been compromised. Oh, protect the general. Oh, it's so over. The general is either killed or has been taken prisoner. And oh my gosh, once again, he just knocked down and ran through those principes. You got to do something. You need more spears. You need spears, and here comes another poor. These are peltists just getting absolutely smashed. Absolutely smashed. So Rome is crumbling. This is what needs to happen here. Rome is a lost cause. Let's do some slow motion. There's about 9 minutes left in this battle. Rome is lost, but has he killed enough? He definitely did. It was a back and forth battle. The Gallic, the Sinon, they lost some troops, but they're definitely going to come out on top thanks to his Steppe ally, his Steppe bro. But yeah, we've got Epirus kind of, they look tattered. They look just rough. And it's because they've been dealing with some cav charges from the Steppe. The Steppe horses just kind of charging in and just hitting them where they least expect it. So good play with the Steppe. There's a little bit of a defense here holding this breach. I'm curious to see what Epirus does here. Is he going to full on charge? He could. He could go for the Hail Mary, so to speak, where he just charges in and tries to get a victory. But against so much cav, I don't think that's going to happen, because the Steppe player could easily just send his cav back into the city very quickly. But, looking at the Steppe Masajatai, looking at their forces, they've also kind of lost quite a bit here. So this is definitely a close battle. In fact, the balance of power is greatly in favor of the attackers. So, like I said, sallying out is very tough. Very tough. So they're going to have to pull off some miracle cav charges here. Like insane cav charges. Like I said, this is an uphill battle. And even though they took care of Rome, they still have a strong Epirus and a very strong Nabatea. And it all comes down to, let's see, a nice little charge here against the Adressian general. As the Nabatean noble cav, they see his banner in the distance and they go for the kill and chop the serpent's head off. But the general is tougher than he looks. And he crushes the Nabatean Noble Cav, which has 176 kills. They definitely did their bidding here. They definitely did their work, but unfortunately, it's not enough. Thracian Nobles hang on without losing a single man to that charge. Absolutely brutal to see if you're, you know, Nabatea or Epirus or Rome, whoever was watching that charge. Now we've got more Thracian Nobles coming in. This is playing into their strength. You know, these nobles, they're going to get a good charge, and they're going to rack up kills. Look at their kills go up. 60. 70. 80. 90. Like, every couple seconds, they're getting 10 kills. And, yeah, they're going to clean them up. And they're going to cycle charge. They're going to cycle charge with the spears, which is absolutely genius. They have 105 kills in that one charge. That was beautiful. So really good stuff there. Over on this side, we've got a little bit of a cav battle going on. This is so cool. Yes, the Nabatean Noble Cav, unfazed by the legendary Saka Noble Armored Lancers. No, they fear no man. I don't care. You know, they don't care if they're from some horse country. They'll take on some horse lord. Head on. Apply directly to the head on. Anyways, I'm all over the place today. Now we got another cav unit coming in. Since the Nabatean cav is busy, occupied, they're going to go for the artillery. I don't think this matters too much because I think they've exhausted all the ammo. But they're not going to stay long, and they're going to go for these archers that are out of position. Thankfully, Nabatea has some axe warriors, but I don't think they're going to be able to do enough here to save these. Well, maybe. No, the archers are broken. Yeah, they're routing. And this cav unit is surrounded. Hopefully they can get these axemen to kind of go in and help them. They're kind of throwing some jabbies as we speak. Yeah, they're getting some kills there. But unfortunately, the Nabatean cav is swamped. Absolutely swamped, surrounded by some noble lances. So that's going to be tough. Now, Les Sino. I don't know. I only say that, you know, being that they're a French tribe. Modern day France. Anyways, Royal Peltis, they're going to countercharge these, what are they? The tribeless warriors. And I really hope they find a tribe one day. That's awfully sad. But yeah, they're going to deal with the scraps here of what's left of the Roman battle. And there's a handful of troops, but oh my gosh, the balance of power has drastically shifted, guys. Epirus is crumbling. I think it's a big mistake that he was focusing on trying to take the city. Now we've got Thracian nobles charging in. Wow. Wow. And oh man, these Royal Peltis, they're good soldiers, but you're asking the war. Oh, I was gonna say they're asking the world of them, but they just got trampled there. That's one way to deal with these Royal Peltis. And now Nabatea's in trouble. Nabatea's in trouble. You know what? I'm looking at this, and I think Nabatea made a mistake here being way too passive. I think he should have dedicated some units to help out, because the Adrician Kingdom has no interest in charging, but now might be the time, because all that's left is Nabatea, essentially. Oh, didn't even get a jabby throw off there. But the balance of power is still in favor of the attackers. That is really nuts. I mean, that is nuts, guys, because really it's just Nabatea left. But yet the balance of power is in their favor. Now, of course, the balance of power doesn't account for micro ability. You know, the fact that there's technically 3 players microing against 1, even though they may have a weaker force, it doesn't matter. They're going to find, just like this, they're going to find weaknesses in there. There's just too much going on. There's too much going on, and they're going to absolutely get crushed here. Oh, man, there's a little bit of a hesitation there. Oh, man. Yeah, the balance of power, I think right here, killing all these archers, this is going to be the nail in the coffin. I think this is going to be the nail in the coffin. We're down to less than 3 minutes. And look at these soldiers from Sinon. Sinon. I don't know how to pronounce it the English way, but yeah. Noble, Gallic swordsman. Just butchering people out here as barbarians do. So really good stuff there. That was fantastic. So this is a, you know, I'm looking at this and it really came down to micro, and it came down to not dealing with the enemy cav, the defending cav. Here we go. Nice job. And the general is going to break for Masajitai. And we've got another charge here. This is good. Taking them out. We've got the general coming in. Nabatea trying to curb this. Trying to stay alive. But, yeah, here comes the Odrysian Kingdom with their general and extra troops here. And they're going to have a charge bonus. Even though they've kind of dealt with Masajitai or Masajitai. Masajitai? I don't know. You get what I'm saying. They dealt with the steppe cav. It doesn't matter. Their army is spread up. It's getting just completely encircled and crushed. Surrounded. This unit's probably going to go for the general. You kill the general. This is 100% over. And there it goes. So this was an exciting battle because it was all over the place. It was completely unexpected and very unique from what we usually see. But I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think the attackers could have done here to better handle this sally out force that was purely designed for a sally out? You know, they don't have units to defend the inner streets of the city. This was always going to be a sally out base. I mean, I could have known that looking at the factions. I mean, I didn't even know the nature of the Sinon. So, you know, but I would have known looking at the other two factions that, yeah, they're going to come sally out. So I think I would have brought more counter cav units. You know, I would have brought more Thurio spears. Like Epirus should have brought a lot of Thurio spears. I don't know the rules exactly, but yeah, they should have definitely brought some more anti-cav, more of a... It's tough, guys. I mean, honestly, it's really tough. I mean, that combination of all those naked warriors over here clashing with the Romans, and then the cav coming in and just finding little... All it takes is a little crack in the dam for it to completely collapse. And the thing is like he did a pretty good job of maintaining his front line, but his units were so thin, right? They're trying to hold so much ground that when the cav charges in, it just completely knocks everyone down and they can run right through them and get to the back lines and kill the archers. So that was a really fun battle. I really enjoyed this one. I like the teamwork, the tactics, the strategy behind selecting your army in your army comp. So that was a lot of fun. Again, I don't know how the tournament system works for this league. I don't know if they get more points because they picked, quote, crappier factions in terms of siege battles, but they did a great job nonetheless, and I enjoyed it. So again, this was sent in by Toxic Rex. He played as the Odrysian Kingdom, which more or less, you know, he did his job, of course, but they just kind of sat there and looked pretty. And that's all he had to do because Draco here going in just insane mode. Look at 300 kills with some naked warriors. I mean, 337. That's nuts. 342 with the general. And they have like almost like a berserk mode. Tribeless warriors, cannon fodder doing their job. Got Crazy Carl over here. But yeah, the Sinon, they get the most kills. So that's pretty cool. And then over on the other side, you know, I think Rome did pretty good there, honestly, because he dealt with a lot. He dealt with a huge barbarian force, and he held them back for a good amount of time. But I think Epirus should have just been... I think Epirus... Yeah, I think that if I had to give one critique, and let me just be clear, I suck at this game, okay? So these players are probably all better than me, but it's, you know, it's Monday, it's, you know, backseat gaming kind of thing. But I think Epirus should have been more of a support player and completely abandoned the idea of charging into the breach and just using his infantry as like a secondary line to deal with the enemy cav from the step cav. I'm always hesitant to say it because I feel like I'm mispronouncing it, but Masajitai. So yeah, and Emperor Rizman, unfortunately, he really struggled there. He had a tough opponent in the Odrysian Kingdom. He didn't know how to approach it. I think he could have done everything the same, honestly, but I think Epirus should have kind of been more supportive of Rome, and I think that's kind of how they could have overcame this sally out, because this was definitely an uphill battle for the defenders. This was, I know it looked easy, but it certainly wasn't. So this was a great battle. I think I'll end it there. I'm kind of rambling on, but yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot to me. We're getting close to 1 million, which is so exciting. But thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time on the battlefield.